Welcome back to the second half of the One Love podcast, or One Loaf podcast.
One Loaf.
I thought it was called One Loaf. For
He's off.
Wheat. No.
It needs to be said, Alex. It needs to be said.
With video.
One heart. All right. So where were we? Okay, so we've covered our time at intake.
Was that lying to kids not worth carrying on with? Or?
What? The lying to kids? Oh, sorry, we're not...
Don't know, just... or did you deliberately sort of like have a break then because, you thought, he's losing it. Let's
no,
forget about it.
Please carry on about lying to children. I have one or two anecdotes of my own on that subject.
I think it's very important. I mean, for instance, when I was probably about 7 or 8 years old, I realised that a teacher was wrong about a situation, and I knew they were wrong, and they lost my respect. I was 7 or 8 years old, so I teach secondary students. They're older than that. They know what right and wrong is, and they know when they're right and they know when they're wrong. So I understood that who we're dealing with. When I was training at Thorn Grammar School, a guy who was head of behaviour at the time and sorted out loads of things for me. I learned everything I learned in teaching in the smoke room and the staff room. It was brilliant because in the smoke room you've got heads of department, heads of year, senior managers. Just people, just normal teachers, NQTs, and it was just like, if you had a problem, sit down, have a cigarette, say, I've got a problem with such and such, and all right, Ted, talk to me about Coronation Street, you'll be fine. All right, cheers, man. Right, anyway, and it worked, because you had these things. Anyway, but this guy, Andy Thurlow, he just said one time in the smoke room, he said, look, Matt, I think it was not just to me, it was to the other sort of trainees at the time, he said, look, just remember this, when you're telling a student off, you're going to see that student again when they're grown up, and some of them are going to be 6'6" tall. And I went, got it. So I'd already had that before I got to intake, and then if a kid comes up to me and says, "Oh, I've just been kicked out by some such for doing such," I'll say, "All right, okay, why's that happened?" And they'll go, "For this reason," but they're wrong. And I was like, "Yeah, I know they're wrong, but the thing is, what you've done there is helped. You've now got a consequence. Yeah. But you've got to acknowledge the fact that they've done that. And if that's the right or wrong way, I don't know, but it's certainly a good way of building up relationships with students if they understand that they will be listened to, and they will, if they say something that's going to be supported by an adult, I'm not trying to break down school sort of ethos or anything, I'm not at all, but it's like, right, yeah, I get that, but you've done some things wrong, but some things I understand that you are actually right, and when you do that with someone, so it's sort of a philosophy that I've had.
My head of department, original one, Dave Robbins.
What a guy. I mean, I'd never met him, but
was the most inspirational and awesome teacher that I've ever seen, I think. And his only problems were with the finance department, and whether one pot of money couldn't be moved over, he'd just come back and say, "I've just told him to fucking get it done. What is wrong with this? What is wrong with this situation?" He said to me, as soon as I started, he said, "Right then," he said, "this is all you need to know." He said, "Before you try and teach," and this is for anybody who's new to teaching, or even those that have been in it for a while and still don't really get it, before you teach anybody anything, make a personal connection with them. Yeah. And like you say, that kid who talked to him about Coronation Street, it doesn't matter what it is, find out what he's into. Yeah. Find some common ground, talk about it, and then they'll just open up like a sponge. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Yeah.
It builds a confidence, doesn't it? It's just like, well, I want to keep having that conversation with that person.
Yeah, well,
so I don't want to fall out with them.
They see you as a person instead of this automaton that's just blowing bullshit out. Yeah. Speaking of which, carry on.
Well, you
wouldn't know how to take that if I was you.
No,
it's all right.
I know where it's going.
Just carry on. It's got a limited amount of time here, so whatever. I'll let the public decide.
No, I mean, in that case, you didn't understand what I'm about. I'm talking about, the way that we're lying to children, and your realisations that if you were to stay within the strict confines of the education system.
Yeah, no, I knew that, but I thought that there was the double meaning that was going on about the fact that I'm the one talking the bullshit.
I tried to divert away from that by explaining myself fully, but
it's all right. No, zero offence taken.
Bullshit.
Yeah, I mean, well, it's just you'd get like you know, you'd get someone saying, well, you've got to tell this kid that they must do this course. And I'm like going, why? Well, because... And you'd realise it was because they wanted to get their numbers up on a certain course to make sure something worked.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, I'm not going to do that. And then also you get other kids, like sort of the year 10s, 11s who are doing the GCSEs. Oh, if you don't do it now, you'll never get another chance. Wrong.
Yeah.
If you turn on the radio, the television, you're seeing access courses for people who've left school all the time. It's a lie, it's a lie, it's a lie. That kid's not ready to learn that. They're not ready to learn in that situation. When they are ready, they will go off and do it, unless there's a financial barrier. You know, I mean, don't forget that being in school, I mean, if you talk to a biology teacher, expert in their field, drama teacher, expert in their field, it's just there, what do you want? They just go and ask a teacher and they will give up their time.
But
for you because
it's the wrong time for a lot of kids to be, to be learning.
Absolutely. Well,
you know?
this is the thing. Now, right. I know that it doesn't work, education, because we're living under a constant lie, and that lie is the every child matters agenda.
Mm-hmm.
But you've created a system where one size fits all. So you're already working in an anomaly, but also you're remembering that people are spouting every child matters and, you know, oh, we do this for every child matters. You don't. You just stop saying it. It's not true. It's like school saying we are a bully-free zone. You are not. There's bullying within the staff. There's bullying within the kids. I'm not saying it's, you know, everywhere's a disaster area, but it's like, no, there is bullying in school. There's always going to be bullying. It's how you deal with it, it counts. And just let's change the wording a little bit. You know, so... you realise that, you know, I'm in a position, I don't even agree with the way education is. You know, if you are not, you know, you should be doing a lot more vocational things for kids, because there's certain kids who are having a nightmare at school and at 14 they could actually be earning a living.
Yeah.
And sometimes they're breadwinners as well. You know, they could become a really essential breadwinner in that family. Now, I'm not wanting to sort of cut off the potential of that student. I'm just saying, what is he going to do for the next 3 years? Maybe he should be working in a baker's. Because you watch, I used to use these things called focus days when you'd be with your tutor group all day and you'd have other people coming in or they'd go to a different teacher. So I would sit in with my class of kids and become a student and try and model good behaviour and stuff, but also ask silly questions, because, you know, like we were doing a question of sex. It was a sex thing with my year 10s when I first started. And of course I'm just there, the kids could be bothered. So I thought, right, I'll start them off like that. Right, question of sport, question of sex, used to have, and they had home questions and away questions, and so I was like, right, okay, you know, all my year 10s behind. Right, is the home questions about having sex in the home, and away questions having sex in other places, like that. And as immediately as I said that, it's sort of funny and a bit nervous, but there's an interaction going on, and they had to answer it, and then it sort of started to work after that. Yeah. But you would see, then you could take the next hour, they'd be cooking, and you'd see the kids who were giving you a nightmare every day about everything. Just there, like apron on, washing their hands, making sure that the water's boiling for the pasta, whatever, you know. They've got it, you know what I mean? You say, well, that guy loves cooking food. Why isn't he cooking food all the time? Yeah. It's just, there it is, and there's a sort of like a taster thing, but there's no real room. If you only fit in one subject out of about 13 or 14, you're going to have a nightmare at school, and of course you're going to kick off. Oh, if I didn't like my teacher at school, I kicked off. Yeah. And my mum was on the staff. You know, if I couldn't see my mum, she didn't exist. It's just like, you're a bad teacher, I'm not having it. I'm not going to learn anything. I'm going to entertain myself for an hour. Sorry, mate, that's it. An hour devil.
We had a kid who, in first year of my teaching at Intake, just wasn't in school at all. And then he'd just turn up every other music lesson. And he'd latched on to me because he were into break beats and stuff, so you know, so, oh, Darren does that, go speak to him. So, you know, anyway, he'd say, I said, mate, you need to keep turning up, you know, otherwise they won't enter your face. He says, oh, they will. He says, it's alright. He says, yeah, anyway, listen to this. And he's written this, like this hip-hop thing with the most beautiful, like 3-layered piano lines under it, and he sings over the top, man.
Is this that guy?
Yeah.
He said vaguely. I'm sure you've told me about this guy.
I'm trying to remember his name. But anyway, and he was just amazing. He's like, yeah, it's alright. I'll be okay.
And was he?
Oh yeah. Just
brilliant. Well, that's you can't teach that sort of awareness, can you? No, actually, I know that this is good enough to be.
Yeah, and Dave Robbins used to like. He says, right, you know, he says we have to kind of we have to appear to be teachers at points, you know what I mean? So I'm going to have to give him a hard time.
Yeah.
And so he'd come in and he'd start shouting at him, you know what I mean? You're not going to get anywhere. And then, you know, you'd see him in a corner and he'd just go...
Well, yeah.
You know what I mean? So,
well, he's probably pacifying a lot of the members of staff and, you know,
Yeah.
also supporting the sort of nature, you know, you can't get away with it.
but that's what I'm saying. But then overriding all that with just that little touch on his arm,
Well,
you know what I mean?
It was a funny
Good to see you. They give him a wink and a smile. Good to see you. You know.
Yeah.
But with my situation, just as you started at intake, I was sort of getting dragged into this Illuminati, 13 families, darkness, and I mean, don't get me wrong, it's all interesting information, but I was getting sucked further and further in, and I'd sort of justified my place in a high school because I was teaching music, and I'm thinking, well, you know, history is lying to them.
Yeah.
Biology and you know, chemistry and physics. They're all being lied to. Mathematics are being lied to, or you know, or at best steered away from the interesting stuff.
Definitely.
You know?
Definitely.
And I thought, well, but I'm teaching music, so you know that's all right. And then I found out about the sacred tones, about the standardisation to 440 hertz back in the early 50s.
Yeah, well...
And I'm thinking, actually, you know, let me just look at this. I'm just regurgitating the facts that I've been sold, which start, you know, the changes started with the temperance scale with Bach in the 17th century. And you don't realise that slowly all this kind of ancient wisdom through mathematics and music, which is the same thing, basically. It's all just been watered down, and in the same way that I believe most of the education system is.
Yeah.
And so eventually I just caved in, I had a breakdown and all sorts of shenanigans ensued. But it was a realisation that I was in the wrong place. I'd spent a long time, 10 years, climbing the ladder and, you know, seeing myself in my success in terms of how much money I was earning and how far up the management ladder I was getting. It all just came to a crashing realisation that none of it stands for shit, really. Yeah.
Well, yeah. Exactly.
I mean, I always felt that from a very early age. The whole sort of career climbing management ladder thing was just not for me. I saw my parents fairly recently, and one of the things they said to me is, you know, I remember you being very young and saying that you didn't want to do what we did, and meaning you don't want to have just the job, or you know, and that kind of, and on that subject of schools and how, or you know, education establishments and whether they work for you. School didn't work for me at all. Yeah. It was really just boring. I mean, I kept my head down and stayed out of trouble. That was my method at school, but I didn't really feel stimulated by any of it. And then leaving sort of education establishments and realising that my experience of learning would be, if I drove it myself, it was amazing, you know. Now I've devoted my life to learning, you know. That's how it is, isn't it?
Yeah, it's absolutely beautiful, isn't it? I mean, that's why I'm in teaching. I say this all the time. I mean, I've got about 94 catchphrases that I use all the time, and one of them is that, I mean, the reason, if you're not in teaching for the learning, get out, because you are constantly learning as a teacher, because it's, you know, every kid's different, you know. You've got to adapt to it, and it's fascinating. And you know, sometimes you can come home from school going like, wow, I was a pretty good facilitator there. You know, I facilitated that all right. You know, I did the right thing. But still, you're working in a system which, you know, is not great for the masses. It really, really isn't at all.
Well, I think there's also the focus on society is all wrong about like how our aspirations, like you were talking about aspirations being climbing the management ladder, achieving what, you know, getting a good job and all of those things. That's not really something that very many of us find very easy to get in touch with on an emotional level. So, of course, it doesn't mean a lot, you know.
From a very early age, I think we've all got similar sort of outlook on it. It's been very difficult since my breakdown about 10 years ago to actually go through my life back up to that point and filter out all the things that you were told that are essentially lies. I mean, they're not told as lies to you. They're told as something understand. Things that other people have been brought up to understand. But none of it really, due to my sort of extensive sort of research on the internet and stuff. Then, you start with things like, well, all the news corporations are owned by 6 people in the world. Yeah. So you're not getting the news. You're not, you're not getting the news. What you're doing is you're getting a political propaganda.
It's that pull back and reveal thing, isn't it? Yes, what the television's showing you is probably true, but why has that situation arisen? If you stop looking through the camera, if you're there, you can see, that's a completely different situation.
Also, that situation that you're looking at on the TV, if you pull back and go, actually, there's all these other situations which balance that in their own way or whatever. So if there's a lot of issues about sort of religion being forced upon us, why is that? Because actually we want to be diverted from the fact that they're taking away our National Health Service.
Take any two situations.
Every time I switch on the news the last few days, it's been those 3 sisters going to join ISIS, and I don't care. Fine, whatever.
What's the backstory to that? Why is that a problem?
Yeah.
Why am I having to suddenly feel like
a problem for me that they want to go and do that? But what the problem is why are they telling me that so hard when in fact what they should be telling me about is
the bill that's going through Parliament that we don't know anything about, that's going to get sneaked through at 3 in the morning one night when everyone's diverted and then
why is the Home Office so intent on hiding the statistics about how how many people die within 6 weeks of getting their benefits removed? They want to block those statistics. Why do they want to block those? But then they don't even want us to know about that. That's not going on the news.
Yeah. So that
this is why I turn it on.
I was just a policeman. Were another one that I got as a child all the time.
Which that
your government don't are out in your best interests. And every aspect of life I realised when I when I was about 30, when everything came crashing down, I had to build it all back up again. There's so much going on that is designed to either divert your attention, to mislead you,
tell you what to think, especially. I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. I feel really bad about this. Why you didn't feel bad about it before you watched it?
And to conform.
Yeah, but like you mentioned earlier, your research on the internet, that's the beautiful thing that's happening now, is that information is becoming more available and transparent. Is that you can actually find the truth if you use. You
can find a truth.
If you use a filter, because everything comes at you from somebody's angle.
Yeah, true.
Then was there a video of a boy climbing out of Buckingham Palace?
Yeah. I don't know whether I've got that.
Look back into.
Yeah, I don't know whether I've put that. I'll see if I can put that on the One Love podcast page on Facebook. There's a couple of other links there. Well, I'll see if I can get all the stuff on that we've been talking about. I watched a video of that exact side of Buckingham Palace from Google Earth, and it's clearly photoshopped. Is that one? Somebody's chopped in, but it proves the point. You could watch that and without saying, right, well, let's see if there's another angle. You could probably swallow that. But that's what's been happening with the news for years. Yeah. You're swallowing what they're giving you because you haven't been given another angle to look at it from,
And I would share certain things, and usually I'll do, you trust the source, or you have a look through the thread or something, see what's going on, okay, right, but when I share some things which are a little bit outrageous, I am waiting for someone to tell me it's a fake.
Yeah.
And I'm fine with that, because it's like, oh, right, brilliant, yeah, sorry about that. You know, I apologise, but and now I can move on because, you know, you see something like, oh, I'll tell you what, I need to know, oh, right, it's fake. Oh, brilliant, well, I won't have to worry about that anymore.
Cool. Just with that, can we, if you go on to, I'll let you...
Is this the sun?
Did you watch it?
Oh, yeah, tell us it's fake.
The clouds behind the sun.
Yeah, now...
well, I mean, I don't know if it's fake or...
It's on the One Love podcast page if you want to have a look now while we're talking.
Until it's proved, then it, you know, or someone tells me the reasons behind that, I'm there going like, wow, that's something to spend some time.
I'm interested to find out why it does that, but it doesn't seem to me unreasonable that there could be a reflection in the...
Someone's
in the
alluded to
atmosphere.
this, haven't they? Or there's a burnout of visual.
Ryan, Beatbreaker, if you're watching, hiya mate. But after firing up a comment, it could be this and this, or the Illuminati, because he always likes to take the piss a little bit.
Well, they like to get involved, don't they?
Yeah, but actually no, then when the conversation ensued, he was saying, well, it is more likely that it's bled out in places and not in others, and that it's a video anomaly. Which, you know, in itself is kind of fine. You know, I accept that as well. What I find a lot on Facebook, I'll find a...
well, when the sun's going down behind the planet, then the atmosphere acts as a like a prism to reflect. So the light is bent around the Earth's surface. So you see the sun appears to be just there, but in fact it's a little bit further round. But also what appears to be there is clouds, and because that light is bright and the prism is shining the way it is, then there's clouds behind that.
It's
I think
certainly
it's something as simple as that.
Yeah,
you know,
it may well be. I mean, it is a sort of a
many
very
plausible explanations, aren't there? But you know,
I think I'd like to rule out CGI just on this one, if that's all right, because it looks totally natural. Whatever's happening,
the doubters have not doubted it.
No,
as that.
Yeah,
you know, there's been very little. So most of the feedback is wow, which is just sort of where I'm at.
It is a very just a strange looking video, and well worth a watch. I was just about to say that
it's well worth watching people watch it for the first time as well.
Yeah.
Because I was sort of like, well, I was like, oh right, I've got to look at. Oh right, okay. Oh, then you're like, all right, okay, well, I'm sucked in here.
And then you have to show other people. Yeah, absolutely. I find that a lot though on Facebook, and it does wind me up sometimes, but I shouldn't let it. If I find something interesting, whether I actually think it's, I'm not, when I post something on Facebook, it's like, oh, this is interesting, and I usually put, what are your thoughts on this? And then there's always three or four people just go like, fucking bullshit, you're mad, you're fucking getting sucked in and everything, and it's like, no, I just
what do you think about it?
I just want to hear people's thoughts on it, not, people just,
not you're wrong.
I want to have a conversation.
There are a lot of people, and they're not all necessarily friends of mine on Facebook, people, you know, through people, and actually people we know, that...
I like to keep them on Facebook.
I like that opinion that is...
I've got my pet.
Well, not for him, just because it's like, I like other people's points of view. I've been searching out Tories ever since the election. I found a couple that had great, you know, comments and threads. It was like, oh, brilliant, thanks very much for interacting. I'd rather get your opinion than not just
It's just that one where it's like... I've proud myself in having an open mind on everything. What I believe today isn't necessarily what I'm going to believe tomorrow, and it certainly isn't what I believed yesterday. You know, you're always taking on this information, but the moment, you know, that you get a lot of, this is my opinion and it's right and you're wrong. And it just hits me as if, but you're then the one whose mind is closed. Once you know what's going on, then surely you're not. If you can't have your opinion, and you can't have your opinion changed, then what if you are wrong and you know the truth is being shoved in front of you? You would never know.
When you've worked out the correct sequence of words to be able to explain that to someone like that, can you please pass it on to me? You're just there going like, ding dong. Well, I can't.
Yeah.
If you just you don't get it, do you?
All you want is for some people
all the vitriol
to just
and all the hate and all the power.
Yeah, and they're all really angry because they're right and you're wrong. But it's like, but I ain't even giving you an opinion. I'm just asking you what you think about this.
That's the good one, isn't it? When you ask a question as well. That's a really good way of just going about things. Because then, I just asked a question.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not allowed to ask questions anymore. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, obviously, you might then judge me on the content of that question.
And that's what happens.
But I am just asking, is this like, sometimes, is this fake? Is this, I can't verify the truth in this, you know? You just put it up there and just like, if someone wants to tell me, brilliant.
Well, I think that some people, and it's not necessarily these people that I'm talking about, but I think people tend to be conditioned into having to fit in a group, and then because they're in a group, then I have to be in the opposite group to what they are. It's like Ford Vauxhall, Mac PC. It's like everyone. Well, that's how we've been brought. You know, that's how we've been brought up to identify yourself into a group and have an opposing group to. But that's not the way that I like to operate. I like to just go, what does everyone think? You know what I mean? I mean, if you want to go, I think, mate, that's a crock of shit. Then fair. But it always tends to get a little bit towards. You're fucking mad. Yeah. And it's like, that's not what I'm not asking about what you think of me. I'm asking about what you think about. I'm asking about what you think about this interesting subject that we post. And I love that. Even if people go, nah, mate, that's complete crap. I think. Right. It's like, well, all right, nice one. Well, I'm not sure yet, but then he's like, well, I am, and I'm right, and you're a fucking idiot. Then he's like, well, you can't go anywhere, then, can you? Do you know what I mean? Anyway, so can we have a musical intermission?
Yeah, well, bring it on.
Mate, I was just driving home from the gig with Paul Middleton's Angst Band last night, which was a great gig, wasn't it? Really enjoyed it.
Really enjoyable.
And this thing came on Radio 2.
Oh, it was the Nostalgia.
The Nostalgia 7/7. What's the girl's name on there?
Alice Mitchell, I
Mitchell, I think.
Go down into the descriptions. Oh, is there any comments?
And
Alice Russell.
Alice Russell. And he said, it's a cover of White Stripes. I thought, all right, never mind. I'll be at the petrol station in a minute. I'll miss that one out. And I got the first 30 seconds as I drifted into the petrol station. I just parked up with my mouth open, man. Wow, this is awesome. And again, the link for this is on the One Love Podcast page on Facebook. Stunning. It's a long time since I've heard a female vocal like that.
Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah, it's great, isn't it?
Yeah, and they made a great tune out of a pretty average one, I think.
Well, I wasn't sure really what I knew it was that song, but I didn't know which version of it you were going to play, and then I realised as she started. Well, in fact, before she started singing, I thought it's that version with the one that I think Seven Nation Army is.
Right.
Oh, right. Yeah, right. Yeah. It's in its proper place.
It's that
It's
one
the
with her
best version.
singing. Yeah, it's that version. It's the one that it should be.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, that's great. I mean, you play quite a lot of covers, don't you? And it's
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
that to hear a good cover is just a wonderful thing. You know,
Well,
you just hear too many.
I love to play covers because if it's important, then you put your own thing on it.
Yeah.
It's like my favourite way of learning a cover is not to sit down with the record and
Not
learn
to
it.
know the original. Yeah,
that
absolutely.
I just think, oh, that's
That's
riff
how it
for
goes.
so and so, and
Yeah.
I know that verse.
That's exactly how I
Try
go
and
about
sing it, then get my head around how that goes. That's my arrangement. Then I go back to the recording and go, bloody hell, that's nothing like it. But those are the words.
Yeah. But then it's your version.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's what I love.
You're also seeped in the oral tradition of the blues,
Yeah.
so it's very, very correct what you do. But it's just when you hear a good cover like that, I mean, obviously, Bob Dylan did that. Heard lots of really good covers or better versions of his songs.
Yeah.
You know, so but you know, it's amazing what you can actually do with it, and you know,
What's
it's also
the-
nice
what's
to be.
the-
But it's a great song as well, you know. I mean, that the White Stripes version, whatever you
Well,
think
not everybody
of,
thinks so.
Yeah.
It's a great song.
Yeah. Well.
I'd say it was
Yeah.
classic.
It's just not up my street. But I mean, you know,
But
people will be going, it's fucking brilliant.
But
you know,
that way
but
of
that is
presenting it
awesome.
turns it into a great song.
Yeah, and
that-
it makes that song accessible to me. Really. Yeah. What's the Amy Winehouse? Is it?
Valerie.
Valerie.
Yeah. See,
I
I
think
really
that's a-
like the
that's a-
original actually, but like.
I don't dislike the original,
Yeah.
but the way that it was transformed into almost another song, and I love that when
Yeah.
people really, you know, make covers their own.
Yeah.
And
Well,
what was that?
Amy
That was Ronson,
Winehouse.
wasn't it?
Yeah,
What?
right. That
Back
was
of
that was
he
what
was the
kicked
driving
off
force
the
Yeah.
whole
of that.
thing, really, wasn't it? That-
In fact, on that, I really like the Smiths cover that he did at that time. Did Stop Me, Stop Me. Is that the Stop Me, Stop Me, Stop Me if you think you've heard this one before? I thought that was a great.
I don't think I've heard that
kind of
one.
Morrissey lyric, and turning it into something else. I thought was really good.
Which is good. I mean, you know, he's a good producer, good musician, and that. But you know, groundbreaking and that. Not sure. I think he's just smashing
Right place,
in,
right time.
smashing into
Yeah.
yeah. And,
Well, it's actually-
the
he's
son of
good.
a
He's good,
wealthy
isn't he?
Manhattan lawyer, I think.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Opportunity to be able to pay to get it done
Yeah.
at first to finance it. It's finance, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Right, okay then. So let's
we are.
move on.
Right. So when you enough about the kids. Fed up with it all being about the kids.
I get fed up at about 2:40. Male 1:40. Then there's only an hour to go.
So then, when you left Intake, was that in the middle of a year?
No.
That was at the end of a year.
I stayed to the end
That
of the
is
year.
something you will never do because Matt always sees the fucking
Sees
project.
it.
I bat out the time, and I took that into my supply teaching. I usually do about 6 months to a year. I send it at one school for 2.5, I think. No, I stayed until the end of the year. I had to stay until the end of the year because with all the midst of everything that was going on, I was a big character at the school. I knew all the staff. You know, all the kids knew I was. I had a fake relationship with another member of staff that just. You know, you're saying about having a relationship with people. When people saw me in the corridor, they think, "Are you going out with that? Were you going out with Miss Whatsoever?" And that was that was where we met. You know, then it was like, yes I am or no I'm not, depending on the mood I was in. And what's the rule about caps? You know, took them off. But it worked. I say but tell us more about this. You know, there was. I decided to stay out and sort of, it was a bit of a sort of a come down really because I'd worked so hard at that school to get where I was.
This is what I was going to ask. Is it then? So presumably, while you were doing that, 40 grand a year, all that stuff, you're in that world and you're spending appropriately, getting yourself mortgages, things like
I did
that.
buy a house, what a mistake that was.
Yeah. Then you hit that point where you're out of that. So you're saying you haven't had a proper salaried, proper.
Yeah, no comfort zone at all. No comfort zone. No sick pay, no holiday pay.
Yeah, and
I've worked for every single bit of money that's come into my life. I've not. If I'm ill, I don't get paid. Done. There you go. Yeah. So I know that all that money's been generated by me.
But then, everything changes then, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Your lifestyle, your
Yeah.
outlook on life, what your ambitions are.
But also your professional opportunities, because I remember going into that agency in the summer, having quit, and saying, well, this is my opportunity. I can't get... it's very hard for me to get a job as a salary, because I can't say the right things in interviews. But you become a supply teacher and you say, right, we need someone to work in this pupil referrer unit. Will you do it? And you say yes. You're in a pupil referrer unit, and I were there for 6 months. And eventually it got to the point where it's like, right, fingers are very important to me, and there's one kid I just don't know anymore. So it's like, right, I've got to go. And the next, but I said to my agency, I want to work in a pupil referrer unit, and I want to work with autism. And I did both in the first year. It was just like a whistle stop tour of opportunities, and seeing, suddenly I was working with teaching assistants everywhere and all sorts of like different care plans, and you know the way you had to care for kids and smaller class sizes, and so you suddenly, I've had a proper tour of the other side of education, and to a point where I'd like to make this point. I say this to people, especially in the special schools I've worked at. Do you realise how lucky you are? Because you take it for granted when you work in an industry, but I've taken kids out. I remember one place, it was, what's that thing around Em Park, is it Tropical World?
Yeah.
We went there, and do you know what? I had this kid with Down syndrome. And I didn't really get on with him, to be honest, right, when I was teaching him, but he had character. But when you were there, you saw this woman with 2 kids going, come away from him, dear. And I was like, what? Why would you want to walk away from that kid or any of these kids? Have you got any idea what a beautiful experience it could be to like just make an effort and understand where they're coming from? And I say to the people who used to work with, do you realise how lucky you are? We're like in a tiny percentage of people who actually not just work with these people, but understand them and laugh with them, and, you know, sort of, you know when they're being badly behaved and know when to tell them off, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because lots of people think, oh, you can't tell a special needs kid off. Of course you can. Yeah. Misbehaving. And how do you know? And for me, working with teaching assistants, it was like, if I didn't know anything, it's like, what should I do with this situation? You know this kid better than I do. And they'll just tell you, because you're asking them some information, something they care about, you know what I mean? Well, you just do this, this and this. Oh, thank you very much. So yeah, I was just, I mean, some of them were just experiences I got into were really shocking, and you know, you had to get your head around it, but eventually kids are kids at the end of the day. That's what I learned.
You know, one of the most enriching parts of my teaching career were special needs in Farnley Park.
Ah, right, there you go.
It's brilliant.
What can they hold? What can they do?
Yeah, absolutely. The unbridled joy, and then anger, and then sadness that you encountered, just completely open children, you know.
Yes.
Clearly, I mean, and
well, no, not all, but in some of them.
And it wasn't just. I mean, there were special needs for various reasons.
Yeah.
You know, there were some children with inherited diseases, and others with poor family backgrounds, and they're all in the same place. You know?
Yeah, they are.
Just I remember one kid, Wakas. I don't know whether you ever saw him over at Farnley Park.
I never went to Farnley Park.
Oh right,
I never got out. I couldn't. There was no time.
This kid, Wakas, little Asian kid, about 12 or 13, and he had numerous problems, and he had these like massive Coca-Cola bottom glasses on. He always had snot and slabber, and I didn't check. I was a little bit late for my lesson. I went straight in, and I thought, oh, there's a full class in here, and I said, oh, I'm sorry, we're supposed to be teaching. And he says, oh yeah, we're just running over. He said, we'll wrap up, and we'll be out in 5 minutes. And Wakas has got out of his seat and wandered right up to us. I've gone, Wakas, get out of my classroom. And it's deadpan, it gets it straight off. Get out, and this is, you get out of my classroom. And so, obviously, the classroom erupts. You know what I mean? Yeah. Get out of my classroom. Yeah. So then, just the joy that I felt walking down that classroom every Wednesday morning, knowing that I'm just going to open the door, because I always used to go 5 minutes early then, so I'd walk into the class, and then just like I said, jump out of his seat and just go, get out of my classroom, and they'd all sit there quiet and let him tell me to get out. It's just, just brilliant stuff.
Yeah. And what I've learned about them with their special needs, and you see it in different patches. There's a really good work I think going on in Harrogate and Knaresborough. What's it called? Begins with H. That famous place.
I don't know.
begins with H. It's an arrogant nose, but where people, people with disability. I'm sorry if I'm not using the PC term, are actually employed. And the thing is, when you look at cooking, running cafes, growing things, gardening, and performing arts, they just nail it. No, it's not Howard House. It's Henshaw's. Which has got loads of things going on. I mean, but there are places we could do it. But those are the areas where special needs children are brilliant. But then, I'm trying to think of some situations. I mean, I used to write songs with kids though, and they would come out with just beautiful ideas. Can I think of one now? No, I can't. But it's just they'll bring things to the table.
Can I give you an example of that?
Yes.
I can't remember his second name. Danny. And he were the one, again, just being dragged up. And we were in a year 9 rap class. We decided to show them how to rhyme words over hip hop.
Don't forget the assonance and the alliteration. It's all key, mate.
So there's little groups. They're in pairs and they're writing. They've got a few lines. And I go. This kid Danny is in control room of the recording studio at school, and he's just spinning around in his chair, and it's like 5 minutes to go. And I'm saying, "Come on, Danny, I saw you 20 minutes ago, and you were just about to start writing something." He says, "I can't do this. Fuck it." And I said, "No, come on." I said, "Look, I'll tell you what. I'll write your first line, and then all you have to do is come up with another line that the last word rhymes with the last word of my line." So I said, "Right, how about this? We've been brought up on the streets. We've got nothing to lose." I said, "I'll see you in 5 minutes. Have a think about it." I went out, saw somebody else, came back. He said, "I've got it." I said, "You've written a line?" I went, "Yeah." I said, "Right, run music." So he's run music. I said, "We're out on the streets. We've got nothing to lose." And he says, "So I might as well shoot some Jews." Wow. Deadpan. Just meant it. And I'm like, "Right, okay." Bell goes. I'm like, "I'm going to write that down. I'm going to speak about that next week."
Yeah.
And
you
that's
can write about what you want.
That's the sort, yeah. Unless you've got that sort of mentality. Anyway, look, we'll leave that behind. Yes. That's interesting stuff there. But I want to speak about this. You can talk about our band, Paul Maitland's Zank's band.
Come and watch us.
Just that's all you need to know. Every Wednesday. Every
Wednesday at the Blues.
Every Wednesday night at the Blues Bar in Harrogate, and the first Thursday in every month at the Duck and Drake.
First Thursday of the month.
But this 2011 was a very interesting
year. We've not done 2011. No. Oh my God!
So let me just give you some. Let me just give you what you've written down, and then you can go where you want with this. Went to Cairo, Amsterdam, Glastonbury, WOMAD, Stum, and Pete Oliver's Boxing Day jam night.
Wow. This is when I stopped worrying about the future, because of all those things, the only one that I knew I was doing on the 1st of January in 2011 was going to Cairo, but I did not have a clue what was going to happen when I was in Cairo. Because I went to Cairo in January 2011 and I was there when it all kicked off. It was the Friday, I think, something like that, when all the internet went down and the mobiles went down with the uprising. But up till then, I'd had a proper eye-opener into how English people are considered outside of England. And I think that in general, America, you do all right with an English accent. In Amsterdam, you do all right with an English accent, which is very weird. Not in other parts of Europe, because obviously make an effort, people.
Yeah.
If you go in there, learn a few phrases. But the actual way that we were regarded is very humbling, and also the fact that you're going in a place where there's traffic lights which are completely ignored. They're just like disco lights. I mean, I couldn't cross the road. I could not cross the road because there was no time when the cars were stopping, and there were no red lights, and there were no bridges. So you're driving around with 6 or 7 cars around you at different times, and all the food were different, and I was living in a middle. I was staying in a sort of a middle class area. In that middle class area, there was a house about 2 streets away made out of boxes. Just there. Where's someone living in that? Do you know what I mean? So you haven't got a clue about the lifestyle. So Cairo, and then of course the coup happened, and it got pretty scary. We were having to go out on a curfew to get to the. We went to the airport to catch our flight, but we had to go back because they'd all been cancelled. We went there the next day, and it was all right, but it was you didn't know what you were getting into. If you go outside, am I going to get shot? We've been told not to go outside, and it was only lasted for a couple of days. But I'd learned without the excitement of that at the end. I'd already learned a massive lesson about British culture, and it changed me as to where I was. And possibly, around that time, I started to maybe write some better lyrics. I wasn't quite the finished article as a songwriter, but yeah, so that was that. And then I went to, I don't know, do you want to answer any questions about Cairo? It's worth it.
I
needed a guide.
Well, let's just mention quickly Hani Zayed, who plays is an excellent Egyptian tabla player.
Very good.
He used to run the Blue Nile restaurant above the Blues Bar in Harrogate, and he's moving back to Egypt with his family, and he's a beautiful man. Yeah, he'd be sorely missed.
I don't know what that hole's going to be that he's generated.
And so
you can't just introduce another seemingly crazy Lionel Richie lookalike mad Egyptian into a Harrogate situation just like that.
Egyptian Secret Service.
Who knows?
Well, sorry, I just want to say that's my opinion.
Who knows? All I know is he's been a man of his word. He said, "Look, Matt, you coming to?" I've been playing with Hani. Sorry, the reason I went to Cairo is because when I started playing with Paul Middleton, Hani had the restaurant and he played with another djembe player and his dabuka and other people. It was a bit of a sort of a mashup, isn't it? And you've joined and played, and Paul's played. But I've been playing with him for 6 years, and this must have been after about 18 months. He was good to his promise of saying, "You come out to Cairo, I'll drive you everywhere, and I will look after you. Just come."
Right.
And ever since then he's a very, very funny man and a very knowledgeable man. But because he sort of meets English people who must be like a fly looking at humans. Do you know what I mean? Look at but the way that other people look at English people, because it's so obvious what we're doing, and you can tell. Those people are queuing. What? Well, that's going to take some time. I'm going to keep myself interested while you're queuing, and the way that we use our language there's a lot of time wasting in it. So I think the way he uses his language, he comes across as being a little bit out there, but he's just meeting us halfway and continuing to engage with us. And I think that a lot of people have. There's music, food, comedy, his history. He's brought all those things to Harrogate, and I really don't know how. Personally, I don't know how I'm going to deal with that.
Now we've got we're quickly running out of time. We've got about 10 minutes left, and so I'm going to just leave this open to you, Matt. We've got Glastonbury, Womadge, Stone, the Matt Evans Band, and em.ar.ee. To cover in 13 minutes.
All right. Well, we don't need to do Amsterdam, do we? Yeah, I played Glastonbury and Womadge in the same year in 2011, and both of them were beautiful experiences. When was it your first Glastonbury? That one?
Yes.
When everybody says, have you played there?
No, I've never been.
Everybody says that there's something about the performance of playing at Glastonbury, and admittedly some of the bands weren't getting that experience, but in general, you've got people who've, it's the people who've come there, they've paid £200 for a ticket, they're in a wet tent, they've come here for a good time, they know what they're getting. And I remember Paul standing up after in the second song, because he played guitar in the first song, and we had 3 nights there, so we were up against Coldplay and U2, and then Beyonce, I think, did the last night, but we weren't playing that night. And he stood up in Snails, and 500 people in a packed tent just applauded him, and it was like, well, yes, that's exactly correct. That's exactly what reaction Paul Middleton should be getting from any crowd, but it should make sure it's packed. And I just remember thinking, well, I'm done. No matter what happens now, we've done this thing, and it's gonna be fine. And we carried on doing some really good gigs and meeting all sorts of interesting bands there.
Yeah.
And then because I was playing, Hani had also introduced me to Hassan Araji. That same year, I just happened to play at Womadge, and we were on the BBC introducing stage, BBC live stage, not introducing. That's Glastonbury. And you're playing in this, oh goodness me, this idyllic sort of like natural amphitheatre with, you've got about 400 people, and then a stage in the back, just a proper like crescent of trees. So people are sort of like behind the trees looking and having to get in, and it's compact, but it's just in the middle of this field. And we do this incredible, absolutely incredible. Everything came together in that moment, and you just realise what those experiences are, and it was just like, well, I've got that. I've had that, and I think I played well at Glastonbury and at WOMED, and I was very proud of what I did, and so that builds confidence. And then we ended up at Peter Gabriel's studio at Christmas, well, not quite, but just right next door, and it was a UFO had apparently descended the night before we arrived. That's right, yeah. We were there just going, oh, come on then, well, if you're still around, mate. And then that was just
that was a magical experience as well.
We haven't got time. Can we do Stum another time?
Yeah, well, we'll have you back another time anyway.
I do not want to start that Stum story now.
Yeah.
Just
suffice to say that you were just dropped in a room with 30 other very good musicians, not one ego to speak of, and just right, there you go, 3 days in there, you've got a gig in 3 days, yeah. And then, just mixing with all these fucking awesome musicians who were all...
Awesome. I don't use that word, but absolutely awe-inspiring.
What we're going to do, shall we write some songs then, And,
Well, that was it. People played their songs, but then you had actually wrote one, so it was, we were bringing material there and adding instrumentation, but then there was other things going on as well.
Yeah.
Do you remember that guy who started off thing with the sort of the hurdy-gurdy sort of sound? I mean, where did he go? Wasn't even there at the end of the night. It was like, oh my God, that happened. I know that happened.
Yeah.
I think I've got about 30 seconds to be on my phone.
He did like a monologue, like from like an army sergeant in India, just with his hurdy-gurdy, just like a poem. This monologue is just fucking stunning. And just like when he started off, I just thought, hey, what have we got here? But like, oh no, I get it. He's playing a character within 5 seconds, boom, so you're in. But then he's saying interesting stuff, and he's playing this fucking awesome.
Where did his voice come from?
Oh, I don't know, real sort of...
Undescribable.
Like this throat thing, just strange, almost like you were channeling.
Definitely.
Like you were channeling
that's what
somebody, do you know what I mean? Anyway.
Yeah, it was about 25 people, and we formed 21 bands and played 21 songs. It would just, I've never known it. So this is all building up that year, and then it got to the point where that's the reason I started playing the music. I just remember having a very bad Christmas, and on Boxing Day, it was Monday. I wonder if Pete's doing that thing at Blues. I was in Nesbitt, and he was like, I am. Took my guitar, went down and played for the first time, and then, we're running out of time, but through Pete Oliver, and then Colin Hartson joined, and then, we got on Sofa, and then we got a drummer in, and suddenly I was in the Matt Evans band and gigging. I was singing.
Again, I'll put links on the Roller podcast page on Facebook.
Yeah.
And then, last but not least, mate, because Matt came to me about a year ago, 18 months ago, and just went, that Cubase, just show me how to get around this. Yeah. And then for 12 months or so, you were kind of, I'm not happy with this. Just have a listen to this, and I'm like, right, well, yeah, that's, the skills are being built up. But you were struggling.
There's
really
an understanding about what the sounds needed, how they needed to work together. Completely different from playing music.
Absolutely, yeah.
But still another different musical experience. But a real instrument is very different.
Yeah.
So it took me a long time to get my head around that.
And then you found your niche. I didn't hear anything for 3 months, and then you said, "Oh,
we're busy."
There's I've decided I'm going to write deep house. And I'm like, right, okay, well, let's have a listen. So, well, actually, I've just finished a track, it's called Bastard Killer, and it blew me away. I really thought that you'd just given me a track.
Well,
and just
historically,
said that's mine.
Yeah.
But it was your first deep house tune, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Look, can we cue that up? Have we got Bastard Killer?
It's on the em.ar.ee SoundCloud.
And then subsequently, you've
done a gig.
Yeah, played your first gig at our free party, God Sound System free party, part of Yorkshire Tea Party.
Yep.
Killed it, mate.
Yeah, thanks for the opportunity.
Well, anytime. Anybody that I can see loves this genre, this type of music, and he's actively trying to pursue it. I'm all up for helping.
Well, it came together with that because I had to do it at 120 BPM, and so therefore that suggested techno, it suggested house, and of course with your help and that highlight, just like I started going away and getting tunes, and then I had this set, and it was like before you've asked me to DJ, and I was sort of doing drum and bass, and it was like, well, situations weren't quite right, and it was this one. No, I'll do this. I'm ready to do this, and it was. I mean, watching everything happen. I mean, it's just I've been involved with the GOD thing for a long time. I know what goes on, but I've not been up on that stage, giving it all that, and there was the opportunity, and it was an incredible experience.
And you can't
just another door opens.
And it was an interesting experience. I think probably the best possible one for you, because you went from because we were the first. There were 5 sound systems. We were the first system up and running.
Oh yeah, perfect.
And so there were about 60 people just waiting for the party to start. You went on first, so it's round for 20 minutes, and all of a sudden it almost half empties. And I just leant over and I said, "It's all right. It's not what you've done. I'll just find out what's going on." And then that was all the other stages opening up. So then everybody went off and had a bit of. And then within 20, I said, "It's all right. Just keep doing your thing. You're not playing out wrong." 20 minutes later. The marquee's full again.
Yes,
they all came back. They all finish it off. So.
And the thing is, well, I'm glad I've done that, because what I learned is when I knew that was the reason they'd gone, because I was suddenly, the trouble with mixing wasn't just having this massive speakers and cheap headphones. It was the fact that there was other bass sounds coming across.
Absolutely.
And it's oh wow, that's new. So that was about halfway through, and I was like, oh right, okay. Well, this is why I'm here. This is why I'm doing it.
Absolutely.
This is what I'm going to learn tonight. And I did, and got through the next few mixes, and then people went, and then it were satisfied when they came back.
Yeah.
And also, I remember when I dropped Bastard Killer in, and it were like, all right, here we go, and right, okay. I swapped the basses over, and I could just see little shoulder thing. Oh, what's this new thing going on? And I was like, right, fine. So it was a long time coming. But I really enjoyed it.
Not only doing your first gig, but actually dropping one of your own tracks in, and nobody batted hard. Matt Evans, it's been a real pleasure, brother.
Thank you very much, Darren.
Really
and thanks for the beer.
Yes, mate. So we're gonna let Bastard Killer play out. Thanks very much for tuning in. I'll see you after Glastonbury.
Best of luck, man.
Thank you.
Yeah, have a good time.
You do go down well there, don't you?
It's hard not to, isn't it? You only have to be half right. And
yeah, fair show.
Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Tune in next time. Bless. Thanks, Alex.